Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to If Comedians Rule the World. I hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. I am still under house arrest, waiting for the civilian Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, to release me on the 2nd of December, and I will be out there talking to people. In the meantime, I am continuing with because we need to stay positive. It's really important that we stay positive. I remember reading someone saying that the comedy industry is now burnt down and there are ashes everywhere. I disagree. I believe that the comedy industry will rebuild and will come back stronger and better. That's my view. So I have an important guest. This is someone I know who has been around the comedy industry for quite a while. His name is Martin Besserman, and he's a comedy promoter. And we go a long way. And I'm not doing this because I want gigs from him, because I do my own gigs now. But I met him 11 years ago. And, you know, I met him when he offered me a gig, when most people did not believe in what I was doing, because it wasn't what they were expecting in terms of comedy. It was different. And you know, in Britain, they don't like to embrace what is different. But Martin believed in me, and he gave me a spot, and I got the addiction to gig, and I became a regular feature in his Monkey Business Comedy Club many years later. So with no further ado, because people have criticized me, my opposition leaders have criticized me for introducing, my introduction is too long in terms of this podcast. You know, what do you expect? It's my podcast, so I can talk as much as I want, even though I have guests. I just called Martin out of the blue today, and I said, Martin, what are you doing? I want you on my podcast. And that's what's been happening with lots of guests. I just call them and I get them to drop everything. So give it up for Martin Besserman, who is a comedy promoter, and he has been he's been running his comedy club for many, many years. His comedy club has lasted my presidency, and I'm still trying to catch up. Give it up for Martin Besserman. Martin, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much indeed. Well, I mean, I'm as good as I possibly can be, and I'm comfort eating. So I have tangerine. It's the last bit of my tangerine. Don't hold on. There you are. So I sometimes, with certain people, need to comfort eat to feel at my best. And thank you very much. You're one of those people.
Oh, thank you so much. I have put on a lot of weight, and you know, the civilian government here asked us to exercise. So I went for a walk before coming down to have a chat with you today. So how have you been feeling apart from comfort eating? How are things generally?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously we would all like to get out of this crazy situation. I think it's overwhelming for so many people. But you know, what is really nice is to have people like you, to know people like you, who have that little bit of spark, that little bit of enthusiasm, that optimism, because it makes one feel relieved and feel that just possibly there is some light at the end of the tunnel, which does not include vaccines. It's just
Martin, we'll get into that. You know, that is very comforting to hear. My view is that we will always face challenges in life, and the people who are going to get out of this lockdown or under house arrest or this pandemic or plandemic era are those people who stay positive. It's really important. So far, you don't die. That's my view, because even as we speak, Martin, despite the fact that we are in a pandemic, some people have changed jobs, have got promoted. Some people are making money out of the pandemic. So my view is that you've got two choices.
I might need to join the government to be in that category.
Well, that is something that we will talk about. But that is something that and look, you can say whatever you need to say. I am not going to edit this in any shape or form. Nobody's going to tell me what I need to do or how my podcast should be broadcasted. All I would say is that you either are on the negative side or on the positive side. I have decided to be and continue, just like I always address my comedy career, to be on the positive side, because there are opportunities. The key thing is you are not not dead. If you're not dead, you're not ill, there are opportunities. And if people can make money, if people can make money out of this, if people can get signed, if people can be on TV, if people are doing well during the pandemic, then you deserve, every single person deserves to do well.
Yes,
so that is my view. So, and so we need to get that mindset. But what are the things that worry you? Because you and I, we've had several discussions about vaccines. We've had several discussions about freedom of rights. You look at me, and you know where I stand when it comes to the pandemic. You know where I stand. So I want you to tell my listeners, because at times when we talk, Martin, you come across like a conspiracy theorist. That's how I see you. I see you like you've come with all these theories that I can't. It's almost the best way to describe your approach in terms of the pandemic, in terms of your conspiracy theory, is the fact that you know that you've lost an election, but you're still claiming that it was rigged. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's how I see you. So Martin, the floor is yours.
I must point out that I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists. I'm not one of those people that takes any notice of people like David Icke. I do my own research, and I also like to listen to the people's point of views that have been disallowed from the main media. So I will listen to people like Vernon Coleman, for example, Dr. Vernon Coleman, who I believe he was a former advisor with the vaccine company, the one developing it, Pfizer, and he has a completely different philosophy. He's more or less saying we shouldn't have locked down. He's very scornful of this vaccine, as far as I remember. And he has a completely different attitude. I mean, he's a highly respected author, scientist, and doctor. And I think, one should not censor what he has to say. I think you have to listen to people like that and make your own mind up. What's happening now is that the government is censoring people like Dr. Vernon Coleman. Another man that is definitely worth listening to is one of the most respected former judges in the country. What's his name? Might come to me, but anyway, he says that we shouldn't have locked down. And unfortunately, a lot of because the police are confronted with mainly empty streets now, they don't have a lot to do. It's just upsetting, I think, that they have stopped Speaker's Corner, where I have spoken for many, many years. They're disallowing people to speak there, even though it's only a handful of people that want to go there and discuss things and debate things. They've stopped that. They've stopped they keep deleting certain alternative views from the norm, from the government norm on social media. This is not good for democracy. It really isn't. So it upsets me because I want to be proud of my community. I want to be proud of my government, even if we disagree on certain things. I want to. I need to feel that I'm protected. That's not only with the government, but the NHS, which was the envy of the whole world. Something seems to have happened that makes me feel something is not quite right. So this is nothing to do with conspiracy theories, and then of course you had the Dominic Cummings situation, the hypocrisy of it all. I just think that we are, because of Brexit and Trump, I think, all of this has created much more division in people, and there's much more hostility. And I think that's a shame. So people like you, again, I repeat, people like you with that sense of optimism and stability, I think it's a lovely thing.
Okay, couple of things that you've mentioned. Let's start with the view that you believe that the government, not my government, the British government, is shutting people down and doesn't want to listen to alternative views or doesn't want people to hear other people's views. What evidence have you got that the government is actually doing that? Because as far as I'm concerned, you guys have freedom of speech. You can protest. You can go out there. Hold on. You can go out there and protest. You can go out there and express yourselves. You can criticize Boris Johnson, who at times, I believe, you praise me, even though I'm not comparing myself to Boris Johnson, but you praise me for my optimism. Yeah, that I'm optimistic. I see Boris Johnson as someone who has a can-do approach. Whether he does it properly is another matter. But he's very enthusiastic. You know, today he was, I think he was referring to Waterloo. You know, he's trying his best to motivate, to inspire the government, even though he needs to wash his hair when he comes out and he needs to present himself well. But on a serious note, you criticize your civilian government. You criticize your civilian prime minister. You can write things. You can call him whatever names you want to call him. That is what you call democracy in this country. That is freedom of speech. Why are you English, Scottish, Irish, Northern Irish, and all the others? Why are you complaining? Why are you saying that the United Kingdom is a communist state? Why are you saying that it's under dictatorship? It is not under dictatorship. Dictatorship will not allow you, Martin. You know, you will not be able to express yourself. You will not be able to write and criticize your government. You will not be able to protest. Don't wish for what you don't have.
Yeah, Mr. President, unfortunately, those freedoms are slowly evaporating. You only have to look around you to see what's going on. The fact that you can't speak at Speaker's Corner, that is just incredible. No, and I think people, you know, especially Americans who used to love coming to Speaker's Corner and observing the debates and getting involved in the dialogues and so on, they would just be so bewildered by that, because it's an institution that's lasted almost 200 years. So this is, you know, each week now, the last 4 or 5 weeks, you've got, you know, something like 100 police stopping 20 odd people from assembling there. And this was something, you know, that people fought very hard for, as I said, almost 200 years ago. And on this, you know, when the demonstrations took place yesterday, I saw in the media briefly when I looked at the newspapers, you know, when I was getting some petrol for my car, I saw the you know, anarchists demonstration, 150 arrested. That portrays a picture of revolutionaries, you know, non-conformists. This isn't the case. I know that some people were on that demonstration to protest about, you know, the arts being ignored mainly. And there were other people there, business people that have seen their businesses collapsed. And indeed, of course, there was also people there who were anti-lockdown, and even there are members of the Conservative Party, Boris Johnson's own colleagues, who opposed the lockdown. So, you know, there is something uncomfortable going on. Now, if you were to say that we are democratic compared to other countries, then you would be correct, where indeed there are many countries where you couldn't speak against the government or the monarchy or something like that. That is actually true. But if we don't stand up to what is going on seriously, we are in danger of going down that road, you know, because there are certainly, I've seen video evidence of the police abusing their powers by singling out people. Sometimes they've even, I've heard, it's not verified by me, but I've heard that they've even arrested people not demonstrating, just walking in Hyde Park, misunderstanding their motivation. So, you know, this is a very uncomfortable situation for me. I mean, you've got this going on top of all the other issues that people are confronted with. You know, I mean, relationships are under enormous pressure now. Emotional relationships, financial relationships, love relationships, business relationships. And you've got all the other anxieties as well that people have got additionally. So, you know, as a little bit about me. You know, I'm a vegetarian because I love animals. I feel I have some compassion for uh, animals and people, and this for me seems to be we heard recently that in Denmark something like 17 million minks were slaughtered. To be honest, because of coronavirus, apparently they caught it. Um, to be honest with you, those minks are probably better off dead than they were alive, because you saw pictures on TV, and the minks were in really tiny cages, So
I hear you, Martin. I hear you loud and clear. I hear you.
I'm still trying to smile, by the way. It's just that you asked me my concerns. I've expressed them, but of course, with all of this, I still try to be happy and feel a little optimism for the future. Yeah,
I'm going to ask you this question. Yeah, so you're very critical because one thing, number one, just a brief answer. Number one, the government did not create this virus, did they?
Well, there's some people that disagree with that. I'm not saying the British government created the virus, but there's certainly some suspicion about how the virus got into all these communities. There's certainly some suspicion about it.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, this is where you could distinguish me from conspiracy theories, because I don't know. I don't have any evidence of something very, very
we know
going on. But I will say one thing. I have heard people saying, well, how could all the governments of the world engineer something like this? What they are forgetting is that governments communicate with each other all the time. They're also forgetting about Freemasons.
Martin, let me stop you there. You see, you deny the fact that you are a conspiracy theorist, but you take evidence from the conspirators, the people who like to imagine that there's something else.
No. This is not the case. I mean, having an opinion is not saying this is fact. I've just said that I don't know, but something strange seems to be going on.
Okay, yeah. I give you that. However, I because it is so rich for civilians, for the electorate in your government or your country to criticize governments. If you were given the opportunity to rule the world, if you were given the opportunity to run Britain, Martin, tell me what you would do differently from this government. Tell me how you would deal with this virus. You talk about Speaker's Corner. We know a lot of people congregate at Speaker's Corner. It doesn't mean that because they have shut down Speaker's Corner that you still do not have your freedom of speech. You still can criticize the government. My question to you, Martin, is if I gave you the keys to number 10 Downing Street, what would you do differently? How would people respond?
Well, first of all, a lot of people are saying, including LBC, that the virus is not as dangerous as first thought.
Martin, let me stop you there. Let me stop you there. Let me stop you there. The question is, if you were in charge of Britain, you're telling me you're unhappy with the government.
I wouldn't have lockdowns. I wouldn't have hurt the economy in the way that it has been hurt. If you were going to have a lockdown, you should have had the lockdown at the peak. So we're talking about when the Cheltenham Festival happened. So was that probably last April or whenever it was? Yeah. I wouldn't have a lockdown at this stage because we've had lockdowns and they don't seem to work. And there seems to also be some suspicion about the accuracy of the test. So if the test are not accurate because they're faulty or because they just don't provide exact information, then I think we have to just consider that having lockdowns is a complete waste of time.
Then how would you control the virus?
Because I think, I mean, if you take the Spanish flu, I saw a documentary on the Spanish flu. Eventually, it just dies out. I mean, there's no harm in telling people to be careful. I mean, if you want to, if there is some evidence that by being too close, that there's some issues that might be concerned, but might occur. But I just don't think that is it. The point that I'm trying to make is that by having lockdowns, as long as they have been lasting, you're creating many more problems. So there are mental illness, domestic violence, animal abuse, suicides, and in addition to all of that, a lot of people who can't be seen for cancer treatments and various
look, Martin,
other issues.
Martin, I understand.
I am answering the question. The question is just carry on as normal and let things just take care of
Carry on when you have 50,000 people have died in the United Kingdom and you want to open the economy and carry on?
Well, that is those are the figures that we are told, but as you know, those figures.
I don't know. I'm not in government.
No,
I'm not in government.
This is really important. Many of those people that have died, they haven't. Are you telling me they haven't died of other diseases, influenza?
And exactly, this is my point. You are quoting stuff that you've read, and you are quoting stuff that you've read in the media. That is it.
No. Excuse me. I'm quoting from Dr. Vernon Coleman and other senior doctors and scientists that are highly respected. And these doctors are, in a way, you could say they're courageous because they're like whistleblowers in a way. They don't have vested interests in pharmaceutical companies. These are men in their mid-70s who do not like the fact that the government have been misleading people.
So are you telling me, if I've heard you correct me, that in the British government, in a democratic country where people get a chance to vote in freedom of speech, you are telling me that the government is linked to the pharmaceuticals? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, but it's true. And on top of that, more importantly, we are trying to be persuaded by the government and by the publicity machine to have this vaccination, and yet all of the vaccine companies have a clause which means that they are exempt from prosecution if anything goes wrong.
Well, look,
these are the things that they don't want you to know.
I am absolutely shocked that in a country that has democratic institutions, that prides itself in having one of the greatest democracies in the world, you are telling me that there is a link between the government and pharmaceuticals.
They have certainly some of the ministers have a vested interest. They have shares in these companies.
I am shocked. I am totally shocked.
No, you will check it out. Don't take my word for it.
No. But what will you then call that? What is the English word for that? Where the government ministers are linked to pharmaceuticals and they have shares, but they then end up winning. These pharmaceuticals end up winning contracts. What do you call that? I don't. What is that?
I don't know. I don't know the term for it, but certainly some of the contracts that are associated, things have gone wrong. With the PPE.
I am totally shocked by what you are actually saying. This is Britain.
It's very, very well known. I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, Mr. President, one can, pretend that this is not the reality, but this isn't just what I've read. This is what has been confirmed.
This is shocking.
It's been confirmed.
This is shocking to me. But why do people embrace?
They're not denying it.
Why are they embracing democracy then? Because I'm trying to remember the word. I can't remember the English word now. where there is a conflict of interest between the government and the pharmaceuticals, and they are getting the contracts. I can't remember the English word, but they use that English word a lot on African countries when, you know, they do. But Martin, look, we need to do this again. I want to leave you on a very positive note. I genuinely believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I believe that we will recover from this pandemic, whichever side you're on. I think I need to get someone like Wilson Milton. He's been writing some I think he's a conspiracy theorist. I want to bring these people to my podcast.
He's quite radical. I'm not radical. I'm, you know, where I come from is I'm reading and listening to what the scientists on both sides are saying, and I'm making my own conclusions. And, you know, I think that the government needs to be scrutinized for all its decisions. At the moment, we don't have an opposition. You're a better opposition than our present opposition. So.
Well, what about Keir Starmer? I believe he's doing pretty well.
He's like all politicians, he's quite a decent orator, but he's not fiery. He's not really challenging the government on too many things. He's either just agreeing with them or trying to look even more hardline. You know, I don't think that he's well, so far he hasn't proved himself. I don't think he has.
Well, look, Martin, I hope we find a way. We find a way to make sure that we are positive towards this pandemic era. We got, I think, probably 9 weeks or so of it because they're going to be vaccinating everyone. We haven't even had a chance to talk about vaccinations, but maybe we will do that in the next episode. I want to thank you immensely for joining me. It was short notice. I told you to drop everything and come and have a chat with me. I hope you don't feel like I forced you.
I hope I've made some kind of contribution.
You have made some contributions, but you see, it is wrong. You guys are arguing that freedom of speech is going away in your country under civilian. Look,
well, I think it's under threat.
Okay.
You know, if somebody is not allowed to protest because they've got some, you know, these emergency laws. I mean, who are these people making emergency laws? And what is the objective? You know, that is my concern.
Look, I can't worry about Britain, but you know what is really interesting is that the Western governments give us dictatorship a bad name. But look, there's freedom of speech in my regime. I am giving you an opportunity to express yourself wholeheartedly about the civilian government. Look, Martin, you take care of yourself. Keep your spirits up, and I'm sure I shall see you on Saturday, 6th of December, if there's not another lockdown. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Okay, take care. Bye.